What is going on YouTube? This is Root. So I'm going to review the third solo mixtape by Kendrick Lamar. Back in those days, he was known as K-Dot, but this project came out in early 2009 and it's called C4. It's kind of like the pseudo sequel to Lil Wayne's The Carter 3 project. Kendrick was basically doing a mixtape version of the mixtape type stuff that Lil Wayne does, where he tears apart other people's instrumentals and basically damn near makes them his own song. And Kendrick did that with like The Carter 3 and was kind of aiming to be like Lil Wayne's successor. I mean, Lil Wayne was quite massive in 2008 and really dominated. That was basically, I want to say, the best-selling album of 2008 was Lil Wayne's The Carter 3, one of the few albums to go multi-platinum and that type of stuff. But Kendrick really was on the come up and was on the verge of being like the next one, and he basically got Lil Wayne's blessing to do like this project. So if you think OC4, it doesn't officially have Lil Wayne's stamp of approval, it does. That's the first song you hear on here on the intro is called it's intro, but it also has in subtitles Lil Wayne cosign depending upon where you get it. And it's a 20-second intro. Lil Wayne saying that he completely co-signs Kendrick, him doing this project, and J Rock and some of that type of stuff. So it's really kind of the thing. Then on top of that, there's a Mr. Carter 2, which is basically a remix version of Mr. Carter from Lil Wayne's The Carter 3, kind of similar to how Jay-Z passed the baton to Lil Wayne on The Carter 3. It kind of pseudo has Lil Wayne passing the baton to Kendrick. I mean, Lil Wayne drops a new verse. Lil Wayne drops a new verse on this song, so it's basically like, I mean, I don't think Lil Wayne was ready to give up the baton just yet, considering that he was only 25, 26 at the time. But I would still have to say, like, it's just cool that Lil Wayne did a reimagining of his Mr. Carter 2 and actually tore it apart as well as he did just a year before. So that's pretty interesting. And of course, just to talk about Kendrick on this project, like really, he has very top tier, top shelf lyricism on here. I was really impressed by this, and I just would have to say that there's a lot of extensive type stuff on this project that this is really belle of the ball. I mean, he's keeping up with Eminem, he's keeping up with Nas, he's keeping up with Jay-Z, some of the more sheer lyricists, I would say Biggie, even some of those type folks. This is just really a tour de force in terms of like sheer lyricism. And the fact that I mean, the thing about it is these Lil Wayne songs, he has it in the same cadence and kind of affluence that Lil Wayne performed. Like when you look at a song like La La La, which had Busta Rhymes and Briscoe on there, or like Shoot Me Down, just the cadence and pitches that Lil Wayne has on those songs on the Carter 3. Kendrick tears apart those songs, but does it the way Lil Wayne would do it on top of that. So that's pretty amazing to kind of get that. Now, the unfortunate thing about it is he doesn't do every single song. Like there's a couple songs missing, like Lollipop and Got Money are missing on here, and there's a couple other ones that I can't really think of. There's a couple ones like Lollipop and Got Money that are kind of missing that probably would have been more extensive to have seen, but he definitely tears apart quite a bit on here, and I just would have to overall kind of say it's an exciting project just because it is kind of like a pseudo sequel, especially at the time, considering that Lil Wayne himself wouldn't actually put out the Carter 4 until August of 2011 compared to January 2009 when this project came out. It was still good over 2.5 years that you'd have to go before you get it. So this is kind of like the interim type thing for such a thing. It's just interesting, just that extra valve of what was going on. It's just a very superb kind of project, and there's just a lot of stuff on here. I do like some of these new songs. On here. There's a good several new songs. There's Bitch I'm in the Club, there's West Coast Wu-Tang, there's Friend of Mine, and there's Young and Black, and those are at least a couple. Out of those 4 new songs, I at least like 3 of them. The only one I really didn't care for that much was just West Coast Wu-Tang, which just was kind of the only one out of the 4 of the new songs that I didn't enjoy was just West Coast Wu-Tang, which I really couldn't get into like the production on that one. There is some East Coast kind of clamoring. I definitely feel like Kendrick enjoyed that particular style that was kind of present in like the early to mid 90s of hip hop. I think he was kind of aiming for that context where he wasn't really doing West Coast kind of beats on here. I mean, it does have, for the most part, C4 does have some extensive production on here, and the Carter 3 was quite the eclectic project, but there are some ones missing. I looked it up now, and some of the ones missing would be Comfortable, Got Money, and Lollipop, which are all pretty good ones to kind of have. I kind of look after it. Probably some of the ones I wouldn't have chosen on here probably would have been Dr. Carter and Don't Get It. I kind of feel like, I mean, I know that this was aiming to kind of have like a reimagining of like the Carter 3, and he did lyrically do it, but it's just kind of the concept that some of the more fun and affable kind of songs are just kind of missing on here. Now I do, yeah, this, so we'll get into that, and I'll just go ahead and recommend the 13 or the 11 song. There's 17 songs on here. I recommend to you 11 of those out of 17 plus 2 almost songs. So those 11 songs would be Best Rapper Under 25, Mr. Carter 2, A Millie, Bitch I'm in the Club, Phone Home, Shot Down, Play with Fire, Friend of Mine, Still Hustlin', Famous Pipe Game, and the bonus track Young and Black. So I just would kind of have to say those are the 11 songs, and then the 2 almost songs would be Take Off Your Pants, which is the Absol only song, and then Welcome to C4. So the reason why Take Off Your Pants is an almost song is just because this is a reimagining of Tie My Hands off the Carter 3, and I would have liked this song more, but Kendrick just isn't on it. He lets Absol basically take the whole song, and it's kind of, I know Robin Thicke and Lil Wayne both did that song. It's just too bad that Kendrick didn't have some ladies lyrics on here. There's a number of ladies songs actually. He doesn't do Comfortable, but he does do Mrs. Officer also, so that's a good one. But I do feel like Kendrick probably should have at least been on this song. I mean, it's one thing to like have songs on an album that are not like that. It's one thing to have songs on an album that don't have the main artist on there, but on a mixtape that's kind of different. It's a little bit odder to kind of have that kind of happen. But then I would also have to say Welcome to C4. This is a pretty good song. I do like this. This is kind of a reimagining of You Ain't Got Nothing, which had Fabulous and Joel Santana on the Carter 3 with Lil Wayne. This one has Black Hippie on there. This has all 4 of the Black Hippie members, Absol, J-Rock, Schoolboy Q, and Kendrick. But it is kind of a lengthy song. I would have liked it shortened by maybe like 40 seconds, something like that, or 50 seconds, something like that. I mean, it's a good song, and I do think I could probably listen to it ultimately, but it's just kind of within the territory of about my limits as far as how long I like songs to kind of be. But I mean, for the most part, most people go pretty stir crazy to like these Black Hippie songs just because they never dropped an album, but they get together every great blue moon and again. And it just, some of these songs are good, but it's really kind of a stuffier song. So that's just kind of the concept. That's why it's an almost song. But kind of talk about some of these, like I do feel like Mr. Carter 2 is an excellent one. This is definitely one that I really like the reimagining of this. I liked how Kendrick tore apart this song, and the new Lil Wayne verse was pretty excellent. Now, honestly, I do feel like Lil Wayne, I mean, I don't think it was exactly time for Lil Wayne to pass the baton. I liked how this kind of happened, but I wonder if someone else would have, like, if I would have put Lil Wayne on another song from the Carter 3, I'm trying to think of what song I probably would have done it on. I mean, that's just kind of the thing. It's just too bad that I mean, I don't want to bitch about it like I'm that kind of Debbie Downer type personality, but just to kind of say, I wonder what a more kind of Lil Wayne type song could have been on here. Like if I would have chosen like Phone Home or Shoot Me Down or Lollipop or like just a song that had a little bit more liveliness. I do have to say about Mr. Carter 2 that it is, I want to say when I reviewed the Carter 3 back in February, I kind of didn't recommend this song, but it is kind of like a nice peppy kind of promo song. It's definitely a song for stepping out a bit and dressed to impress, that kind of vibe. It's looking a little bit flashy and that sort of stuff. So I like this song more than what I originally thought of it back in February, but I still would have to say it's just kind of like a shucks kind of situation, because you just want a new Lil Wayne verse where he would tear up a song that he tore up on the Carter 3. I would have probably chosen like Shoot Me Down or Playing with Fire or La La La, just some song that had a little bit more liveliness in terms of that context. But for what it is, I still think this was extremely clever that Kendrick got Lil Wayne's cosign and got a new verse, paid Lil Wayne the money to do a new verse on one of his songs. That's pretty awesome that happened. So really the complaints that I have about it is just more kind of personal complaints more so than saying, oh, this sucks and I'm pissed off and I'm flaming and that type of stuff. It's not really like that. So it's just kind of the thing. Lil or Kendrick's and Millie, he really tore apart this song. This is an excellent one. I feel like Playing with Fire. I really like that song on the Carter 3. It's a song I didn't get the chance to review on the Carter 3 that I reviewed back in February just because Playing with Fire was replaced with Pussy Monster. Pussy Monster is quite an excellent song, but Playing with Fire was a really kind of morose and brooding kind of song that just was a different shade of Lil Wayne that I definitely enjoyed quite a bit, and I missed that song quite a bit. I mean, I want to get the Carter 3 that has that version of it because it's just such an excellent song. But Kendrick tore this song apart. He really sounded ghoulish and spooky on the song. It's just an overall kind of ominous kind of song that's just underrated by Lil Wayne and Kendrick. This is definitely a good one. Still Hustlin's a really good one. I always thought that La 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 by Lil Wayne was a great smoking song. This has the perfect little kind of dazed out, kind of hazed out, purple haze kind of smoking type feel towards it. And him adding J Rock and Absol on there is just a nice touch to kind of get. So Still Hustlin's definitely a good one for smoking that sort of thing. I feel like Famous Pipe Game is a good reimagining of Mrs. Officer. It's just an overall good song to kind of have for that. It definitely worked pretty well. Three Pete is another one. Best Rapper Under 25 is a reimagining of Three Pete, and that's just an overall nice one. I mean, basically a lot of these songs that Kendrick reimagines from the Carter 3 just hit the nail on the head. They're just knocked out of the park, just complete excellent kind of ones. It'd probably be easier just to talk about some of the ones I didn't enjoy as much, like G Code, which was a reimagining of Let the Beat Build. That one, I just didn't like the lyrics in that one. Is just kind of talking about some folks that got killed because they were trying to be G and just didn't quite add up to it enough. So I like the original Let the Beat Build just because Lil Wayne tore that song apart. And I think Kendrick did tear that song apart, but I didn't enjoy it as much. And then Misunderstood, which I just never liked the song Don't Get It by Lil Wayne. That was kind of like a 9-minute song, and I didn't really like. I still don't like that beat now, so it wasn't a song I was trying to hear anyone really rap over. And then I didn't like Compton Chemistry just because I don't like Dr. Carter. I don't like That's another song I didn't like back in the day, back in February when I reviewed it. Not just back in the day when I used to listen to the album, but back in February when I reviewed the album. So I don't like Dr. Carter, so therefore I didn't like Compton Chemistry. And then I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really enjoy the production on West Coast Wu-Tang. That's probably the only real original beat that just did not really add up as much. I feel like Kendrick really did want to get in the same company as like those East Coast cats that had all the lyricism, fame, and that type of stuff. And he does have the lyricism, but I just am a believer and you have to have good beats also. So this is kind of the thing. But yeah, just me trying to figure out some other ones. Shot Down is an excellent one. Kendrick really tears this one apart, talking about a reimagining of Shoot Me Down. That's an excellent song. It has a great hook on there. They just happen to really nail that one pretty well. Just another kind of haunting one, kind of like Playing with Fire. It's just kind of a brooding and kind of more personal and paranoid kind of song. This happens to work real well. Trying to think of some other ones that kind of happened. Phone Home is definitely an excellent one. This is one that this kind of had like an out of this world where Lil Wayne was kind of on his Martian vibes and that type of stuff. And Kendrick did a pretty good job with that also. It just really has like that same kind of pitch. These are just like the sequels. This is like Kendrick doing the Lil Wayne mixtape type stuff and pulling it off. So it's just basically him doing that. It's just another, it sounds like this was Lil Wayne almost, just by how well that Kendrick kind of hones him on these particular songs. So I used to really enjoy Phone Home off the Carter 3, so this is an easy highlight for me. And yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the bonus songs. So basically, Bitch I'm in the Club. Yeah, Bitch I'm in the Club. Like, Jackal Goldkick talked to me about this song, and supposedly this is a song that Kendrick doesn't really like, but this is a pretty good highlight. I definitely see this as like a litty kind of city nights, kind of city lights, kind of flashy type song where you're just really getting tanked and just starry-eyed and that type of stuff, just really stepping out and having a good time and just kind of looking optimistic about the nightlife and that sort of thing. I mean, it just kind of has like, I mean, the beat is probably to me like 8.5 kind of territory out of 10. But I would still have to say I do like the concept of it just being kind of like a pretty extensive and kind of overall charming kind of club song from Kendrick, just because for the most part, apart from like Swimming Pools, I can't really think of too many. And there's a couple of songs off of Damn from 2017, but in terms of like Club Kendrick, he doesn't always do it. It just kind of feels like I mean, I like the concept, but we definitely could have used like another song or two like this song. This is just one that needed like another sequel or something. This is I just don't understand why Kendrick wouldn't like this song. I mean, I know that he tries to aim for more meaningful and kind of thought provoking kind of stuff, but this is one where I mean, these songs are definitely popular. These are the sorts of songs that these are the kind of songs that are going to get everyone loose and get the shots pounded and that type of stuff, the money flying everywhere in that sort of context. This is just an overall good highlight. I do think that you just can't overlook these type of songs. I mean, even if you don't wholesomely want to do them, it is within the good valve to have at least a couple of these. But Kendrick really doesn't have too many songs like this on the album. Really, this is the only one. So I would have definitely liked to have seen another pitch of Kendrick back in his age 21 prime that he was kind of having with this sort of pitch. If he can tear up Lil Wayne songs the way that he can, I definitely would wonder what he could do with more club songs like this. Just kind of a small taste of that. And I would feel like the other two new songs, which are Friend of Mine and Young and Black. Friend of Mine is kind of like a morning song. I definitely feel like Friend of Mine is like a morning commute, whether you're just waking and baking or you're smoking real early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Really feel like it's just sunrise where the sun is like bright orange, and this is kind of, or it just makes you want to go get bacon and toast and eggs and coffee and some of that type of stuff. It's a real kind of nice morning type tune. Very lazy, definitely not an outgoing kind of song, but this kind of one. I mean, the concept of the song is for the ladies, but I still look at the concept where this is just a nice kind of morning commute type stuff. It's interesting that Kendrick on a mixtape was kind of doing like blue collar and kind of morning sounds like that. I mean, I think he had more smoke sessions in mind, but this is definitely something that you can drive to Target or someplace like that, or Payless, someplace where you have to be there early in the morning, those type places to go to work and those sorts of things. And then Young and Black. Young and Black is like a real East Coast sounding beat. Reminds me of something that like the RZA or Ghostface Killah would kind of do. Just has a real. This is another real morning bound kind of one. This is definitely one for more of a smoke session. I feel like both of these are just kind of easy highlights for breakfast in the morning, going to Starbucks or Denny's or something like that, and just kind of having a good time. I mean, they're not so much drinking in the morning, getting ready to get crunk, talking about just the party just got ended, that type stuff. I feel like these are more kind of, you got maybe a little bit of responsibilities to do, just kind of getting ready to go out and head to work, and more in that sort of sense, just more responsible kind of sense. But I do think they can also be pretty solid smoke songs, just for a nice wake and bake and watching like just some funny movie like Jackass or something like that, just to kind of crack you up a bit. I mean, that's just kind of the context of it. So yeah, I would have to say that's the project. That's kind of the concept about it. So me liking at least 11 and a half or 12 and a half songs out of 17, where I liked 11 songs plus two almost songs. So that's 13 songs out of 17. I'm going to go ahead and give this mixtape. So me liking 13 songs out of 17, which is really 11 plus two almost songs. I'm going to give this project an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like that's pretty solid just because there's so many. But I kind of look after it, like some of the almost songs I do kind of like, but I just kind of question how far on the fence on them I would kind of be. And then the four songs I didn't like I kind of, and then the four songs I didn't like, it really just boiled down to the songs by the Carter 3 that I didn't like Dr. Carter, Don't Get It, and then I didn't really like the reimagining of Let the Beat Build, but those were just some relatively small complaints. And then, like, I didn't like the new song West Coast Wu Tang. So apart from that, I mean, I like the concept of Kendrick Lamar's new songs, but I kind of felt like I would have liked for some West Coast type sounds, and like something that would have sounded more out of California, and just something more like Bitch I'm in the Club. I mean, I think Jackal Goldkick and I both really like that particular style. It's just too bad that Kendrick, I don't want to say wholesomely avoided it, but didn't vividly showcase it and kind of flaunt it like we probably would have wanted him to. And I think that's just kind of the concept. I do definitely kind of feel like this concept is definitely pretty skilled. I mean, he has the lyricism, and when you listen to these songs, I feel like me conveying the fact, you have to listen to it to see the proof in the pudding of the fact that Kendrick really can harness Lil Wayne and annihilate these kind of songs. That's pretty good, but it's just kind of the concept that in terms of outgoing kind of songs to get crunk to on this project, you do get two morning smoke session kind of songs and morning commute songs, but in terms of like a Friday night highlight or something like that, just to really go crazy to, there's only Bitch I'm in the Club, and that's basically it. And I definitely think that needed to be more. And this is the concept that really the most festive songs off the Carter 3 aren't on here either, like Got Money and Lollipop, which I definitely think needed to be. So Kendrick kind of downplayed the more festive and kind of outgoing kind of times, and as a result, I had to knock the score a little bit. But that's just kind of the thing. I still feel like 8.5 out of 10 is pretty extensive. I mean, the quality of this project is in spades. It's just the fact that it just is not a vividly social kind of project. So that's this kind of thing. In terms of the social score, though, I'll go ahead and give the social score like a 7 because I do feel like this is recommendable just because there's so many good Lil Wayne songs. But I just feel like the absolute best ones, the most festive ones, are not on here. But I do feel like there is some good stuff. He definitely has the lyricism. When you get a highlight like Phone Home, or you get a highlight like La La La, the reimagining of La La La, or some of those type ones, or Mr. Carter 2, or a Millie, or Bitch I'm in the Club, or some of those. There are some moments, but it's just not a furiously entire like sheer masterpiece in terms of like social type vibe. So it gets a 7, but it does get an 8.5 out of 10 score. So in terms of the future, like Kendrick dropped an album in 2022, and he kind of tends to take more extensive breaks now, but we'll see what happens. There are some more Kendrick projects I want to review, but this is definitely pretty rock solid highlight here.